It is estimated that more than 800,000 people commit suicide each year. That's one person every 40 seconds. With major risk factors including chronic illness and mental health struggles. To reduce the harrowing rates of suicide, we must tackle the stigma associated to mental health. While a widespread issue, one community where the stigma is significantly evident is the Asian community. AJ Sidhu has faced his own battles and he courageously shared his story with me.
AJ, can you just outline your journey with mental health to me?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got ill. Basically, I was in work and just sort of started my career, and I got quite badly ill. Came out of work and started to get these struggles of not working, physically feeling quite ill.
Yeah.
Couldn't really pinpoint what it was. Couldn't really understand what was going on in my head and why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And I think I used to go to many different appointments and stuff with my mum, and I ended up coming back from one appointment and I was very, very upset, very mentally sort of distraught, and I remember sort of saying to her, like, I need something else, I need something that's not there. And obviously my parents and everyone was trying to figure out what was physically wrong with me, and they were trying to put me through the best treatment possible, and they're paying extra to go to see a private person and stuff. But there was complete other side to everything, that because I came ill, it affected me such in a different way in my mental health, and I couldn't really articulate that, I couldn't explain it. And I remember exactly where we were in the car. We come out of the hospital and we were at the lights, and I saw some sign on the side, and it was to do with all these holistic therapies and stuff like that. And basically I was trying to say that I need something along the lines of that, but I couldn't say it to my mum. And I think it was my sister who were quite close with and spoke to, and said, you know, I think I need something else. And she said, you need counselling. And I almost needed her to say that to me for me to accept that I needed that help. And from then on I was quite happy to say, yeah, you know what, I'm not in the right headspace. I need something else. I'm not feeling very good. And she was the one who said, you know what, let's go and find someone for you. And she sort of did the background work of ringing her out, finding someone for me, and making that first contact to say, look, I'm not very confident at the moment, I don't want to seek the help myself. How can you help my brother? How can you, you know? And that was sort of the first point of saying, this is me, this is where I'm at, and this is what I need help with. So they were my first sort of struggles, really.
And I mean, how would you say that your life has changed since you fully opened up to your family and actually sought professional help?
It's changed massively. I think I was, first and foremost, I was physically ill. I had an illness and it took a long time, many different operations, and I had a major operation sort of just over a year ago. That was a big sort of step forward. But overall, I think it has taken a while, and through counselling sessions, it's definitely taken a long time, but it's come like full circle, I say. I also think it's improved my life a lot better. I look at life very differently now. I'm not someone who, perhaps maybe before, I was a lot more anxious, and without even understanding what anxiety was. Now I'm very, very different and very open. My sort of life, my family life, and enjoying what I'm doing, back in work. I'm very, very happy with where I'm at the moment.
And do you think, I mean, people may not always open up to those around them, and they might be actually quite afraid to sort of say, I need professional help, and that they then, I guess, suffer in silence a little bit?
Absolutely. I think I'm quite lucky, the fact that I've got, you know, quite a close network of my family and close friends around me, and I think that's the most important thing, is that trust those who are close to you around you, because there may be some families, you know, perhaps who don't talk as much and don't have those conversations that are really important. I've had like mental health in the family before, and never, because you don't understand. I don't really think you understand it until you go through something yourself, and open up about it yourself. But I've sort of seen it, and from those experiences, sort of think, well, actually, I can understand what you were going through now, and I can understand the importance of saying, let's have a chat. And I think it's very easy for, whether it's your friends or whether it's your family, you might meet up and say, you know, oh, how are you? Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you just get on with your lives, and sometimes you're not all right, and sometimes you want to say more, but you don't get that opportunity to do that. And we're very, very closed off. And I think particularly sort of in Asian families as well. I think we've had chats before about this, but I'll go into it a bit more. It's just we're very close. We don't want other people, other families in the community to know about our issues or problems that we might be facing. But at the end of the day, I think if you open up about your issues and problems or things that you're facing, someone else will, because everyone's going through the same stuff at the end of the day.
After experiencing mental health difficulties himself, Ranjit Singh launched Terrorism to reshape how the Punjabi community approach mental health, and I spoke to him about his mission. Ranjit, why was it that you started Terrorism?
So I started Terrorism after experiencing mental health difficulty myself as an undergraduate at university. My time at undergraduate level was difficult and marred by social anxiety. And at that time, I didn't really know what was happening to me. I didn't really understand what I was going through and why I was going through this. I became very self-critical about what I was going through. I blamed myself. I looked at what I was doing wrong, and I didn't really, it was very difficult to understand. Luckily, I was in a very, very compassionate house where I lived with 7 people who, with whom I could really speak about what I wanted to speak. There was no level of performance, there was no theatre to how I was at home. I was able to actually, properly be myself. And they really helped me through what I was going through. And, I was incredibly lucky that I was allowed to speak with them. But, after I went through my difficulties, as I was kind of becoming a bit more accepting and a bit more understanding of it, I looked at people who were going through similar things back home in Birmingham, where I'm from. And specifically, I come from quite a densely populated Punjabi community. And in that Punjabi community, I did not see any level of mental health support in place. Whether it's of a lack of awareness or a lack of support, I didn't see anything there. And there was a culture of silence that pervaded the Punjabi community, especially with regards to mental health. And so Terrorism started off as a way that we can start changing how the Punjabi community approach mental health.
What do you think is key to overcoming this huge challenge facing the community? And since launching Terrorism, have you actually noticed people becoming more open and comfortable about speaking about the difficulties that they are facing?
So I think the key challenges are developing both strategies of awareness and strategies of support. Awareness is great, but it might be slightly abstract and it might not give people the practical skills to actually deal with, say, mental health crises and supporting people more directly. The awareness involves a lot of things that are taking down ideas of shame and honour, which are, used to stigmatise mental health in the Punjabi community. With regards to people coming forward, at first it was pretty difficult, but as people learned that others were speaking, people became more open, and I was getting more and more emails coming through, which is fantastic.
Neelam Hera formed Sisters in 2016 to offer a support network to women across the globe suffering from reproductive, sexual and mental health issues. Neelam has been on her own journey and has struggled with self-harm due to her health conditions. She's been highlighting the strong links between mental health and reproductive health and sits on Public Health England's Reproductive Health Board. I caught up with her to find out more about the stigma associated to reproductive health and the need for more education.
What was it that actually sparked you to launch Sisters and offer women across the globe that support network?
I felt women that have reproductive health issues didn't have a safe space to talk about these issues. So we primarily work on a social prescription model where we offer supportive peer-to-peer support groups. So women come to these support groups, don't feel like they're going through these issues alone. Therefore, there's less need for them to go back and forth to the GP because they know other women are going through similar issues to them.
And do you think you actually suffered more as a result of the stereotypical views within the Asian community?
I felt it was quite difficult to explain to the Asian community what was happening with me because there's not really much education around any of these issues generally. So everything linked to reproductive health is always sexualized. So a lot of women generally don't want to come forward because ultimately there's a massive stigma relating to sexual health and they don't want to come forward for that reason.
And how far do you think we as a society actually have to go to fully educate ourselves about these issues?
I think we've got a long way to go yet, a massive way to go in that we still don't know what a lot of these issues are. I mean, a lot of the temples, mosques, community centres still don't know what issues like PMDD is, PCOS or endometriosis, and they're quite common conditions. Reproductive health alone affects 1 in 2 women. That's half the UK already. So you can appreciate that that's massive in terms of education.
Yeah. While there's obviously a long way to go in terms of making progress, have you actually noticed women becoming more vocal?
Definitely. I think the period we've got in with austerity, etc., we've actually come across period poverty, which we didn't realise existed, or we always thought existed in third world countries, but actually it's happening in England as well. And now that's actually created a conversation around reproductive health, and I think that's opened up doors to have these frank conversations about it. So we're in a perfect era to do that now.
Rev Second is a counsellor who specialises in working with Black, Asian and minority ethnic communities. He's determined to help tackle the stigma associated to mental health, but he also highlighted how world affairs such as terrorism, such as immigration, can impact heavily on someone's state of mind.
Why is there such a stigma associated to mental health in the Asian community? And do you actually feel that people fear becoming made to feel shamed by others if they open up?
There exists a strong stigma in Asian culture and society, and one of the main reasons around that is because of lack of awareness.
Okay.
The concept of mental health and what that is perhaps aligned with spiritual understanding and deviates from typical Western thinking around what mental health may be perceived as. And I think that's part of the barrier really in terms of educating people to understand, this is actually what mental health is, it exists, and you can get help with it. I think that's the starting point for many conversations.
Yeah. And with so much conflict taking place across the world, do you actually believe that world affairs such as immigration, such as terrorism, can actually impact heavily on someone's mental health, particularly those from Black, Asian and minority ethnic communities?
Absolutely. I think we've seen a strong increase in hate crime across the nation statistically.
Yeah.
And we live in an age now where people are being judged because of the colour of their skin. And to carry that around, walking around in society, it's a burden for some to carry that around and to enter public in fear of judgment from others.
Yeah.
It's a very dark place to be. I think that's a sad reality.
Yeah, and obviously progress is certainly being made, but I think there's still a long way to go. Are you confident that actually speaking about mental health struggles can somewhat become normalised in society and we can get rid of this huge stigma that does exist?
Definitely, it must. I think there's a lot of positive work taking place.
Yeah.
These are just the small steps forwards in the right direction. There's so much more work to be done, but it's fantastic to see so many projects being taken, or charities starting up, or projects taking place, to starting this momentum forwards to get people the help that they need.
It is evident that people from Black, Asian and minority ethnic communities face a huge challenge when it comes to mental health. But progress is certainly being made, and it is key for us as a society to build on that progress to ensure people don't suffer in silence and do have a support network in place. Thank you for watching, everyone. Let me know what you thought of the video by leaving a comment, and it would really mean a lot to me if you could share the video.